This is gonna be a lot heavier video, simply because of what happened.
Nah, I don't mean to be rude, baby. I don't even like to cuss. I'm just trying to express myself, and expression is a must.
Hola guys, I'm gonna try and be as upbeat as I possibly can. I've learned to be a little less like funny when I tell serious stories, at least, and I'm like funny about it or whatever. I've noticed that people get kind of mad. I want to be a little more serious about this shit. This happened in 5th grade. It was actually the year that I moved here, so I was the new girl at this time. There was this girl on my bus on the way home. I didn't have classes with her, I never saw her in school, but we were on the same bus. I didn't know this girl. My only interaction with her from day one was her being rude to me. Like, she would sit in the seat diagonal from me or in front of me, and she would just say something kind of rude. You know, like, she's like mean and kind of rude. It wasn't like any sort of serious bullying. This was just simply annoying. Like, it wasn't a huge red flag. It was just this kid who was kind of mean and annoying. Like, I don't know how long it went on for. It pretty much became a normal thing that I would go on the bus after school, sit down, she'd say something rude, and then that would be it. And I never like talked back to her. I never like defended myself. I just would look at her and just like look out the window. Like, I just didn't fucking care. Then there was one day, I get on the bus, I sit down, I'm looking out the window and I feel somebody sit next to me, which is odd. Nobody really sat next to me. So I look over and it was her. She was sitting like straight up, really proper, looking straight forward. No expression on her face. And I was only looking at her because I was like, why is she sitting by me? Didn't have an expression on my face. I was just looking at her out of curiosity, and she wasn't looking at me. And I was waiting for a comment, but she didn't say anything. So then I thought, huh, weird. There was plenty of spots on the bus, I remember that. She could have sat anywhere. As I'm looking at her, she looks over at me. No expression on her face, just stares at me. And I just stared at her. No, nothing threatening. I wasn't provoking her. I was just looking at her like, why are you sitting by me? Like, why are you sitting by me? That's it. That's all I was doing. I didn't like have a glare or nothing. I was just looking at her, and she had no expression, just looking at me. I couldn't like get a read on her or anything. And then she lunged at me. She put one hand on my throat and the other hand on my mouth and pinching my nose. And she pushed me back against my seat. At this time, you know, I was little and we were about the same size. I was flailing about trying to pull her hand off of my throat, and trying to pull one of her hands off of me, and I couldn't, and I was freaking out and I started to panic. Obviously, like, I was a 5th grader, I didn't know how to react in this situation. Before I was stuck looking up at her, she just had this blank face while she covered my mouth and squeezed my throat. And I looked around, and all these kids were staring at me. Nobody was helping me. Nobody was calling for help. They were all just staring at me. I think it was shock. I mean, the bus was full of younger students. I don't actually know how quick this happened. It happened long enough that my vision started to black, like kind of tunnel and get black around the edges, and I remember feeling lightheaded. So it happened long enough that she was starting to do damage to me. I don't know if somebody told the bus driver or if the bus driver saw what was happening. And the next thing I know, the bus driver is screaming, "Stop that right now, let her go." And she did. Sat straight up, had her hands folded in her lap, and she looked straight ahead with no expression on her face. And I was sitting there gasping for air, tears running down my face. I looked around, and all those kids who were staring at me were still staring, but they all either had tears in their eyes or were crying. She had sat in the front right behind the bus driver. I think the bus driver told her to. It's hard for me to remember after this. I don't know if it was due to lack of oxygen to my brain or if it was that I just decided to immediately start to suppress it. It also could be the fact that it was such a long time ago and I suppressed it for a really fucking long time. I did ask my mom and she couldn't remember either. Like she knew what I was talking about, but she couldn't remember. And my sister knew what I was talking about, but she couldn't remember either. I don't blame them. One, it was a long time ago. Two, a lot of shit happened with like all three of us kids, so I don't blame my mom for not remembering. And I suppressed it for so long. I didn't want to remember, and I don't really want to remember more of the details. But what I think happened, actually it had to happen because I didn't see her again after this. I didn't have classes with her. I only rode the bus with her. So I'm thinking what happened was the bus driver reported it to the school. They either expelled her or they switched the bus. I don't know. I think they probably just switched her bus. I don't know if a punishment was taken out on her. I'm sure there had to have been. I would like to think that the school wouldn't let that go unpunished, but the schools here never handled things very well, so who knows what fucking happened. But I never knew her name. I know some people will be like, how the fuck do you not know the name of the person who tried to kill you? Well, sorry, we weren't really exchanging pleasantries, so there's just something extra scary about the fact that we were in 5th fucking grade. Like, we were so young. Being attacked by another student was, it was something that never even crossed my mind as a child. You're taught stranger danger, but you're not taught stranger danger against kids your own age. That was how a bully I had when I was younger tried to kill me. I don't know how far she actually would have gotten. I don't know if she would have let me go on her own or what, or if I would have been able to break free. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if the bus driver hadn't intervened. So sorry that was a little bit of a heavier story time, but this is shit that happens to people. As scary as it is, it's the truth. I hope that you guys never have to deal with something like that, or never had to deal with something like that. And if you're watching this and you have had something horrible like that happen to you, I'm so sorry. If you're comfortable talking about it, please put it in the comment section. You don't have to. Like, obviously never ever share anything you're not comfortable sharing. But if you are comfortable sharing it, I would like to know your story. The only reason I even remembered this, I'm very good at suppressing bad memories and stuff. And I ran into her at the store a couple days ago. And when I saw her, I just was like, flashback. I was reliving the whole thing. And she looks the same. Like, she looks almost exactly the same. She's just taller now. Same fucking dead shark eye stare that she had when she attacked me. Same everything. It was actually really spooky. She didn't acknowledge me. Like, she just looked straight forward, which I think means she saw me and realized who I was and just kept going. My stepdad asked me, when I saw her, did it make me like want to beat her up? And surprisingly, no. I think my brain was more like thrown back at reliving it rather than being mad at her. It's kind of weird. Like, you think that if you want to beat anybody up, it's the person that decided to choke you out and try to kill you. But I thought that was a little weird and kind of interesting. I thought I would share that with you guys. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye, my little rainbows.